Can you hear me now?
CrossFit athlete died at a CrossFit game.
Yeah.
Drowning.
Olympic?
Not Olympic, but it's CrossFit game. CrossFit. It's like a...
Yeah, I know what it is. That's what Matisse.
This looks like a triathlon kind of. Wow. You know what GARM is? GARM.
Oh yeah, I think that's the people that are boycotting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that are boycotting and X
Rumble.
and Rumble. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're evil people.
So they're. Oh, coffee.
Uh-oh. I gotta take that part off. Edit that last part off. It's out of order.
Oh.
It's all right. It's supposed to be in this order.
Oh.
And it's a tail end, the end of that movie. I gotta get rid of it.
Really?
Yeah. TruthSlinger News.
First of all, what an awesome rally, and then also the interview
right.
prior to that here on Right Side Broadcast.
Welcome to the live
is going on?
stream. What the hell is going on? Well, what we're doing, what the hell is going on is we are waiting, right, for the, we're waiting for the Trump news conference, press conference. And I'm like going, okay, wow, all right, weird. What's going on there? Why is he holding a press conference?
Right.
I find that a little strange.
Yeah.
So I got that turned down, and see, it's down here in the corner right here, Right Side Broadcasting. So just as soon as we're ready to go and something to see, Then we'll do this fancy thing where I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go, woo, I'm going to switcheroo. But in the meantime, I'm going to come back here because there's nobody commenting yet. Nobody's here because my wife has failed miserably to promote this properly.
What?
Apparently.
What?
Said you've miserably failed to promote this completely. Like, totally. Like, why aren't you sending this to the Tiger's Den so we have, like, people here?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. So anyway, we missed you guys this morning. Did you miss us? We did. Yeah, we were, Mom was feeling under the weather this morning, got the migraine. And I wasn't feeling it without her, and I was feeling like, man, I was up kind of late last night. I usually don't stay up that late watching the documentary, and hopefully you joined us for Wednesday night documentary night. Mm-hmm. And we watched a documentary about the Trump assassination. The what? Yeah, you know that thing that happened about 3 weeks ago that nobody remembers anymore? Nobody talks about anymore? The Secret Service doesn't say anything about anymore?
Yeah.
Hey, you think therefore you're here. All right. Cool. Well, when we get done with this live stream, Jeffy Poo.
Oh, no, don't do that.
We can hop on the camera. I think I got all my equipment going on. It might take me a few minutes to clean up the scenes. I finally got my Poopa-Jawina together over here and started using a new feature in OSB called the profile. And I've always seen that there, and I was like, how do you load them? How do you not load them? And because, I'm from the days of, like, you have to save things and stuff. None of those buttons are there. It's more intuitive than that. And so I said, holy shit, I have 40 scenes, and I have clutter and crap in every one of them that isn't supposed to be there, that I've got turned off, that is just there because sometimes I turn it on or I quit playing with it and stuff. So I went through each and every scene, and I made a profile called LIVESTREAM. And now, after I get off here, I'm going to make a profile. I'm going to make a profile called Interview Guest. Guest Interview. And so, yeah, make it a lot more sense. And so all my shit is where it's supposed to be, right? Hopefully now I'll not forget where I put it now that I've got it all together. So, yeah, we're going to have a press conference. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to have a press conference, and I don't know what the hell it's about because
I know.
Donald Trump just usually doesn't hold press conferences. So what the hell is he doing?
But it could be to contrast him with Kamala.
About not holding press conferences and not answering
but
questions.
But the other thing is he hasn't been on the campaign trail all week.
No, he hasn't. He's been holed up in Mar-a-Lago. So what the fuck is going on?
Don't know.
What the hell?
Some people speculate, that he would drop out, but he would only drop out if he was very sick.
What if he's going to announce he's got information that this whole hit job was an inside fucking job or something? Like something big.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Well, he hinted that he knew something about Joe Biden, is pissed off.
Yeah, what about that?
He's trying to take back the nomination.
Yeah, what about that? He might talk about
him.
that. Who knows what the fuck he's going to talk about?
They bribed him.
And now he's probably not happy with the bribe. Hang on, let me close my shower, my bathroom door over here.
Okay.
Hey, I bet you don't have a studio with an adjoining bathroom, do you?
Okay.
Actually, it's better than when my studio was literally in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That was a little problematic for live streaming because Mama would look at me and go, I gotta go. I'm like, oh, I don't know. So, yeah, we put up a curtain. That worked better, But, no, this is much better. So let's, what are they talking about down here? Yeah, so I've been dingling around with OSB, and I get much more familiar. Well, I've been playing with the software a lot, and there's a couple of different ways to get, like, this down here, this right here. There's a couple of different ways to get that put on your screen. There's a window capture, and there's also a browser. And I put it in using a browser source. And so that's pretty cool because then the chat doesn't show up, and the closed captioning right here, the closed captioning on the bottom is nice and seeable. So I like that pretty well. And I can adjust the volume in OSB over here on the fly on the right. without having to interact with a separate, Chrome window or what's the other Chrome and what's the other browser?
Edge.
Edge, right? Windows. Yeah, this just embeds the URL, the browser, right in OSB, and so you can interact with the YouTube video right in OSB, which is pretty slick.
It's the true narrative taking on the false narrative. So.
And then you just insert multiple ones. That's how people get multiple live streams on. They insert multiple, instead of multiple window captures, it's easier to just put in a browser window and just stick it in there. And so that's pretty cool. And then you can just flip, you can change them and change the sizes of them, and then you can, like this, you can just tile them all up there, and then, stretch one bigger if you want to over the top of the other ones, and you can have multiple streams coming in. So I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, it's there's multiple ways to skin the same cat, and so that's why sometimes it can be confusing when you go in there and you start looking at the different ways to insert things into the scene. And it took a while for me to just get to the point where I'm like, all right, what works best for me? How do I want to go about, doing this? And how many streams am I going to do? And, how am I going to manage it? And now still, I have to insert, if I'm going to put in, I think I could put in my Twitter page in that way and interact with it in there. I'll have to try that to see. Because I'm thinking, usually the way I put that one in is to capture a window. And that's kind of cool for curating a show, too. If you want to do a show, is to capture the browser window and then have all your multiple tabs fully researched. Like if you want to go through 3 or 4 articles, that's a good way to do it. And then you can flip through the tabs on your browser. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think you can, if you insert it as a browser source, I do not, you have to have a unique URL. So if you want to go with multiple tabs, you would go with a window capture and capture the browser window. Then you can flip back and forth between your tabs. And if you put it right, you can even make your tabs up top so that you can just sneak them right off the screen like that, so you don't have to see them. So I used to do that. I used to do curate news, depending on how I would do it. If I would do the Tim Pool thing and read articles, then I do it in a browser window and put multiple tabs. And then usually if I'm going to start with my Twitter feed, I would have that be the first tab. And then my multiple articles like Daily Wire or whatever be multiple tabs. You're hot. Don't worry about it.
I know.
I'm just talking a lot, that's all. Just blah, blah, blahing away.
No, I had my hand here, and I'm like, I didn't hear it at first.
So the press conference must be a little late.
Yeah, but it's going to start any minute now.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
There's a 4-minute warning 5 minutes
he
ago.
was able to achieve, and then some. And to the benefit of the American people, you had a president that actually cared about putting the American citizen first, a stark contrast from this administration that is putting illegal immigrants first. And we just don't feel like we're being listened to.
Exactly. And so hopefully there will be a voice for the American people in conservative media. And yourself, Harrison Fields, dude, thank you so much for joining us. You did great. And it was awesome to see President Trump give you that shout out on Truth Social the other day as well.
Thank you so much. I really
I'm nervous about the whole Kamala. I'm
sir.
nervous that he has been off the trail for a week.
So before we get to
Somebody
some
got pissed
more
at me.
of
I made
the, topics
I made a post today. I said, and I posted the Kamala Harris, the Harris Walls rally, and then we had just seen the one that they're holding today. Holy shit! At the airport, there's a fucking tens of thousands of people. And I posted, and I said, Trump better get off his ass.
Yeah.
And somebody got really pissed off. What do you mean? He's working, he's doing all this, he's going here, flying there. I said, no, wake the fuck up. Okay, the Democrats have captured the news cycle for the whole week. Okay?
Yeah.
Trump is not dominating the news cycle like he should be. Right? So, it's, Jeff, it's pretty good to watch a couple of videos of OSB. Just make sure that, you got the correct version, so the buttons, pretty much look the same. And and goof around with it. Yeah, the way I do all these things that are like the intros and the timers and all that crap, I do that in Wondershare Filmora. I'll usually capture something in OSB Studio instead of.
Come.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
Great. Well, there you go. Let's go to President Trump right now.
statement.
You gotta stop.
Here
we go.
I can't hear anything.
Oh God, RSB's mic is fucked up.
From an economic standpoint, from a safety standpoint, both gangs on the street and frankly gangs outside of our country in the form of other countries that are frankly very powerful. They're very powerful countries and we don't know what we're doing. We have leadership that has no clue how to handle them or how to handle any other situation. We have a lot of bad things coming up. You could end up in a depression of the 1929 variety, which would be a devastating thing. Took many years, took decades to recover from it. And we're very close to that, and we're very close to a world war. In my opinion, we're very close to a world war. We have people that don't know how to handle it. They're not respected. All over the world, they're laughed at. And we can't have that. Most dangerous period of time I've ever seen for our country.
That's right. That's right.
With that being said, we have somebody that hasn't received one vote for president, and she's running, and that's fine with me. But we were given Joe Biden, and now we're given somebody else. And I think, frankly, I'd rather be running against the somebody else. But that was their choice. They decided to do that because Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen. She picked a radical left man that is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just not, it's not even possible to believe that they exist. He's going for things that nobody's ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for our country. He doesn't mind people coming in from prisons, and neither does she, I guess, because she's not, she couldn't care less. She's the border czar. By the way, she was the border czar 100%. And all of a sudden, for the last few weeks, she's not the border czar anymore, like nobody ever said it. And I just hope that the media becomes more diligent, more honest, frankly, because if they're not going to be honest, it's going to be much tougher to bring our country back. We have a very, very sick country right now. You saw the other day with the stock market crashing. That was just the beginning. That was just the beginning. It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse, in my opinion. And fortunately, we've had some very good polls over the last fairly short period of time. Rasmussen came out today. We're substantially leading, and others came out today that we're leading, and in some cases substantially. I guess MSNBC came out, or CNBC came out also with a poll that was, has us leading, and leading fairly big in swing states. In some polls, I'm leading very big in swing states because they want safety. People want safety. They want security. They want respect all around the world for our country. They don't want this horrible culture that is developing. A culture of no common sense. It's really a culture of no common sense, and it's not what anyone wants. We want to have a safe country. We want to have a strong military. We want low interest rates, and we want to be able to have the American dream. We want to be able to have our youth be able to buy homes, housing, get good jobs. And we're really just at the opposite right now. It's so sad to see. But as a border czar, she's been the worst border czar in history, in the world history. I think the number is 20 million, but whether it's 15 or 20, it's numbers that nobody's ever heard before.
And
20 million people came over the border in the last, during the Biden-Harris administration. 20 million people, and it could be very much higher than that. Nobody really knows what the number is. Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. And the gotaways, they call them the gotaways. The gotaways are at numbers. Somebody was quizzing me on it the other day. No, I don't think so, sir. I don't think so. They have no idea what those numbers are, but they're much higher than you would think. Just like far more people were killed in the Ukraine-Russia war than you ever report. Just like the October 7th would have never happened. Russia would have never hit Ukraine had the election result been called differently. It was a very bad call, but Russia would not have attacked Ukraine. October 7th in Israel would have never happened. You wouldn't have inflation. A lot of great things would have happened, but now you have millions and millions of dead people, and you have people dying financially because they can't buy bacon, they can't buy food, they can't buy groceries, they can't do anything. And they're living horribly in our country right now. With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates. And we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th.
Can't wait for that.
And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details.
That's going to change the course of the race.
Some location.
Those 3 debates.
Which city would we put it into? But all things that will be settled very easily. I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms.
Can't wait to see the
They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree.
Cat lady.
She hasn't done an interview.
This is what the debate's going to sound like.
She's fairly confident that she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight. Why is it that millions of people were allowed to come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, insane asylums, even insane asylums? It's a mental institution on steroids. That's what it is. When you see
we got a cat
the
lady
people
in the
that
room.
are coming into our, these are institutions that are being emptied out, not in South America, all over the world, including South America, all over the world. Prisons are being emptied out into our country because we have a president that's the worst president in the history of our country. We have a vice president who is the least admired, least respected, and the worst vice president in the history of our country.
That's right.
The most unpopular vice president.
That's what I think of her.
Because of political reasons or because of being politically correct, even though she never received a vote. Don't forget, she was the first one defeated, as I remember it, because I watched it very closely, but she was the first one. She never made it to Iowa, the first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one that was defeated.
Yeah, she dropped out.
She was the nastiest to him. She was nasty with the calling him a racist and the school bus and all of the different things. She was very nasty to Biden. And shockingly, he appointed her, asked her to serve as vice president. Well, I don't know if he's happy about that decision right now. This was taken away. The presidency was taken away from Joe Biden. And I'm no Biden fan, but I'll tell you what, from a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away. And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily. But whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run. And they took it away. They said they're going to use the 25th Amendment. They're going to hit you hard. Either we can do it the nice. I know exactly because I know a lot of people on the other side.
See, Kamala, this is what she can't do.
And
speak like this off the cuff.
They said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way. And he said, all right. So that, I mean, they've really taken, what they've done is pretty incredible. And now I'm running against somebody else, and we're leading. We're leading. So I'm not complaining. I'm saying it's for a country with a constitution that we cherish. We cherish this constitution. To have done it this way is pretty severe, pretty horrible. You would have thought they would have gone out to a vote. They would have had a primary system. They would have done something. But to just take it away from him like he was a child. And he's a very angry man right now, I can tell you that. He's not happy with Obama, and he's not happy with Nancy
well, some of them are,
Pelosi.
though.
Crazy Nancy.
I mean,
she is crazy, too. She's not happy with any of the people that told him that you've got to leave.
To deny the reality, you can't do that.
He's very
either.
unhappy, very angry. And I think he also blames her.
You know, I mean,
trying
should
to put
he
up
have
a good face, but it's a
should
very
he
bad
have called
thing
out that she
in
was
terms of a
Indian
country
first and
when
then
you do
she's
that. I'm
black
not a
all
fan
of a
of
sudden
his,
when
as
it's
you
convenient?
probably have
I think he
noticed.
should have.
And he had a rough debate. But that doesn't mean that you just take it away like that. Or you go out to a vote, you do something. He had 14 million votes. She had no votes. She got no votes.
They'll always have ammunition on the other side, no matter what.
I think she's crashing.
They'll
I think when people
so.
find out, and I think people are starting
to find out.
like the whole
J.D.
what
Vance
a
and
bad
the
job
couch
she
thing
did.
is completely
What
made
a bad
up.
job she did on the border. She's trying to say she had nothing to do with the border. She had everything. She was appointed to head the border. And then they said borders are, oh, she loved that name. She loved that name. But she never went there. She went to a location once along the border, but that was a location that you would love to go and have dinner with your husband
right.
or whoever.
Exactly.
That was a location that was not part of the problem.
Not the hot spots.
Not really going to the border. So essentially, she never went to the border. And if you listen to Tom Holman, if you listen to the great border people, Brandon Judd from Border Patrol, if you listen to Paul, I mean, so many different people. I speak to them all the time. And I did when I was president. We had the best border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. Millions of people coming in, and our country cannot sustain it. Our country is going down because of this, because of incompetent people.
What was the young girl's name that got raped?
Debates.
The white girl, the jogging
I hope
girl.
she agrees to them.
Remember, say her name.
September 10th.
Joe Biden didn't get it right. A little while back.
Oh God, the nurse.
Yeah,
be very revealing.
I can't remember her name now either. But you know, tell that to the family of the girl who got murdered, or multiple people have been murdered by
strategy at all.
illegal immigrants.
It's the same policies: open borders,
You're
weak on
questions?
crime.
Yeah,
I think she's worse than Biden, because he got forced into the position.
Lakeland,
she
yeah.
was there long before. She destroyed San Francisco. She destroyed California as the AG. But as the DA, she destroyed
Lake and Riley,
San
yeah.
Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of
Yeah.
mine, Bob Tisch, all know the Tisch family. He was in many cities with companies. He said the
Thanks for that.
greatest city in the country is San Francisco. That was about 20 years ago. And he passed away a while ago, and he would be looking down and said, what happened? He thought it was the best city in the country. He had divisions there, lows. And he would be looking down in horror now when he sees she destroyed no cash bail, weak on crime. She's terrible. And yet they weaponized the system against me. They have me. I got so many lawyers. Now they want to delay cases. I won the big case in Florida. I won the big case. Nobody even wrote about it. The big case, the judge was a brilliant judge. And all they do is they play the ref with the judges. This judge was a fair but brilliant judge. And as you probably heard,
of course he
the
was
big
brilliant. He
case, I won
found
it.
the
Biden
thing should be
lost
thrown
it
out.
because he
Yeah,
didn't
right.
have presidential immunity. He didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He lost it. But the special, I call it prosecutor, special counsel, special prosecutor to me, he, appointed by him, and appointed by Garland, he said the man's incompetent. He can't stand trial, but he can run for president. But we no longer have to worry about that because we have somebody
You'll
that,
always
in my
be a
opinion,
cat lady. Eventually,
is
you'll go back
more
to kids will be
incompetent.
gone,
She couldn't pass her bar exam.
and you'll just go back to what you were.
And lots of other things. And she should not be in a position.
No, kids
because
change
if
you.
she becomes
Definitely.
president, our country is going to be a giant fail. It's going to fail. It's going to be a failure the likes of which this world has never seen. Yeah, please. No, how about you? You have to speak louder.
A big part of the strategy for your campaign before Harris became the nominee was appealing to black voters.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I can't hear shit.
Well, it changes around a little bit. I'm getting other
It was
voters.
in the closed.
Perhaps, I was doing very well with black voters, and I still am. I seem to be doing very well with black males. This is according to polls, as you know. It's possible that I won't do as well with black women, but I do seem to be doing very well with other segments, extremely well with Hispanic. Jewish voters way up. White males way up. White males have gone through the roof. White males way up. Now, I don't know. All we're doing is giving you the stats that you have. It could be that I'll be affected somewhat with black females, where we're doing pretty well. And I think ultimately they'll like me better because I'm going to give them security, safety, and jobs. I'm going to give them a good economy. We have a very bad economy right now. We could literally be on the throes of a depression, not recession, a depression. And they can't have that. They can't have that. So I think I'm going to do well with everybody, especially when the facts are right. Yeah, please, in the back.
I got a cat without a belly button. It's true.
Well, I don't know. I know Josh Shapiro. He's a terrible
guy,
guy, and he's not very popular with anybody. I think that this election maybe is better than Josh Shapiro would have been. But I think other than Josh Shapiro, I think she had some good choices. But Josh Shapiro is not one of them. He's caused a lot of damage with a lot of people. And I don't think he would have been better. I think he would have been maybe the equivalent, maybe not as good. But they had some people that they were looking at that were good, far superior to her. They actually had a story where they had everybody, including, they had like 10 people that she was looking at and her. And they said she was the worst of all. In other words, she was the worst out of the 10 people and her.
Make sure you get your My Pillow now.
I don't know how that's going to work out. We'd like to do 3 debates. We think we should do 3 debates.
Promo
we think
code
Fox
RSBN.
and ABC. And we also have CBS is going to do the vice presidential debate. So CBS will do vice presidential. And I have to tell you, J.D. Vance has really stepped up. He's doing a fantastic job. Say it. Oh, give me a break. Listen, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. You didn't report it. I'm so glad you asked. What did she have yesterday? 2,000 people? If I ever had 2,000 people, you'd say my campaign is finished. It's so dishonest, the press. And here's a great example.
Yeah, I do too. I like JD a lot.
In Michigan recently, 25,000 people and 25,000 people were we just couldn't get them in. We had in
but yet he's reserved.
Harrisburg 25,000 people and 20,000 people couldn't get in. We had so many. Nobody ever mentions that. When she gets 1,500 people, and I saw it yesterday on ABC, which they said, oh, the crowd was so big. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size. And no, they never say the crowd was big. That's why I'm always saying turn around the cameras. I'm so glad you asked that. I think it's so terrible when you say, well, she has 1,500 people, 1,000 people, and they talk about, oh, the enthusiasm. Let me tell you, we have the enthusiasm. The Republican Party, and me as a candidate, but the Republican Party has the enthusiasm.
You're exactly right.
Because people want to see crime stop. They want to see a country that's respected. Think of it. If I were president, you wouldn't have Russia and Ukraine.
I can't even believe this thing is competitive at this point.
Zero chance. You wouldn't have had October 7th of Israel. You wouldn't have the horrible withdrawal. And I don't mean the withdrawal because the withdrawal was fine. I was ready to withdraw from Afghanistan, and we were going to do it with dignity and strength. And we were keeping our equipment. We weren't leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind. We wouldn't have had 13 great soldiers. I know the families of those soldiers well. We wouldn't have had
beat the shit out of that reporter.
Killed, and we wouldn't have had 45 soldiers obliterated. No legs, no arms, the face. None of that would have happened. And you wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had any inflation because inflation was caused by their bad energy problems. Now they've gone back to the Trump thing because they need the votes.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if you know, they're drilling now because they had to go back because gasoline was going up to $7, $8, $9 a barrel. So they said, we better do what Trump. But the day after the election, if they won, you're going to have fuel prices go through the roof. Everybody's going to be forced to buy an electric car, which they're not going to do because they don't want that. It's got a great market. It's got a market. It's really a sub-market.
Not for everybody.
People want gasoline-propelled cars. They want hybrids. They want to have everything. And they want electric. But they want everybody to have an electric car. We don't have enough electricity. We couldn't make enough electricity for that. And you know what else? The weight of a car, the weight of a truck. They want all trucks to be electric. Little things that a lot of people don't talk about. The weight of a truck is 2.5 times heavier. You would have to rebuild every bridge in this country if you were going to do this ridiculous policy. So, but on crowd size, in history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have, and you know that. And when she gets 1,000 people and everybody starts jumping, you know that if I had 1,000
Make sure you hit
people
that
would
notify
say,
bell
people would say,
and-
that's the end of his campaign.
And like and bookmark, like and
I
bookmark,
have hundreds of
bookmark.
thousands of
Forward.
people in South Carolina. I had 88,000 people. In Alabama, I had 68,000 people. Nobody says about crowd
No, the
size
grid-
with me.
grid
but she
will
has
never handle it,
1,000
Jeff.
people or 1,500 people, and they say, oh, the enthusiasm's
It's a pipe
back.
dream, all
no,
of it.
no. The enthusiasm is with me and the Republican Party.
Money
Because they
laundering,
want to stop crime.
kickbacks.
They want to stop people from pouring into our country
Green
from
news
places
scam.
unknown and from countries unknown, from countries that nobody ever heard of. That's where the enthusiasm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can or not. I got him elected. Without me, he wouldn't be governor. I got him elected. He was doing terribly. I got him elected. With that being said, I hope we can repair it. But if we don't, the people are still the people, and they're going to vote. We're leading in Georgia by a lot. We're leading in Pennsylvania by a lot. So, but I don't know. Now in Pennsylvania, I have great relationships. In Georgia, I do too, but unfortunately not with the governor.
There's
I've
new
never
news.
understood
They've
it. When you
uncovered
get somebody
fraud in
elected,
Georgia.
they're supposed to like you.
Fulton
He's
County.
not exactly, for some reason, and you'll have to ask him
Aren't you
about
shocked?
that. Yeah, I'd love to see it get repaired. I think that if we don't win Georgia, Georgia is a big win, is a big state. So I won Alabama by a record. Nobody's ever gotten that many votes. I won South Carolina by a record. You don't win Alabama and South Carolina by records and lose Georgia. It doesn't happen. And the people of Georgia understand that. There was tremendous
Isn't that amazing, Anders?
anxiety and problems in Georgia. A lot of people say, what happened? And we have to, all we want is honest elections. If we have honest elections in
good to
Georgia,
see you,
we have
bro.
honest elections in Pennsylvania, we're going to win them by a lot.
Yeah, on the fly, not reading off a prompter.
Imagine that.
Well, he actually said it two ways. First, he said it incorrectly, then he corrected himself. Do you agree with that, right? You know, if you watch him, he said it two ways. No. I mean, he said it two ways because he doesn't really know what he said. Why didn't he bring it up
right.
at the debate? You know, he had a chance for 90 minutes to
about
bring
violence.
it up at the debate. He could
If
have
he
talked
loses,
about that at the
he's saying
debate.
that Trump is going to get violent.
He didn't do it. Everyone said, oh, he said this and he said that. He's just, you know, they give him something to read off. He read it very badly because he actually said it the opposite. Then he had to go back and correct himself. He said the opposite. He should have brought this up at the debate. If he had a problem, of course there'll be a peaceful transfer. And there was last time, and there'll be a peaceful transfer. I just hope we're going to have honest elections. That's all. Okay?
He's lost some weight.
What a stupid question this is.
Oh, I love this.
Uh-oh.
I love this.
Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention go through. And I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference.
Yeah.
She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before, both economically and from an outside
He beats the crap out of
perspective.
reporters,
Russia
man.
doesn't respect us anymore. China doesn't respect us anymore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, liked me a lot. He doesn't like this group. We are in great danger. We're in great danger of being in World War III. That could happen. No, after their convention, yeah. And I'm going out. Actually, I'm going out to certain places to help certain senators get elected. Not even for me. I'm trying to help when I go out to Wyoming or when I go out to Montana, or I'm going to different places to help people. And I don't have to go there because I'm leading those states, as you know, by 35, 40, 50 points.
No, you're
I'm leading
right.
by record numbers. I'm
And
going
much of the
because I want to help
job
senators and
increases
congressmen get
Or
elected.
government jobs.
Congressmen and women
It
get
just
elected.
keeps getting
Yes,
inflated.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
keep employing more and more people.
The upcoming what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's time to get ugly.
Yeah, the Elon Musk. So, yeah, sure. So Elon called me. As you know, he endorsed me full-throated. Great endorsement. I respect Elon a lot. He respects me. And not easy for him to endorse, to be honest with you. You know, it takes courage to endorse people. Many people have courage and many people don't. He does have courage. And Elon endorsed me, and he asked me whether or not I'd do a show on Monday, and I think it's going to be Monday night. And I believe he's the host of the show. So it'll be very interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. I look forward to it. That'll be done on Monday night.
Social media now, buddy.
Well, you have a lot of misinformation spread about China, and you have a lot of misinformation spread about a lot of different places. I think I'm going to get along great with China. President Xi of China and I were very good friends. We met right here, right in that, except we had a beautiful
he just
sofa
loves
there,
dictators.
as opposed to what we have right now. Right now
they
we have
completely
you.
misunderstand.
But President Xi and I had a very good relationship until COVID. And I held him responsible for COVID. It broke up our relationship. But I think we're going to have a great relationship. And I think it's going to be mutually beneficial. But we cannot have it where China is taking advantage of the United States. And that's what they were doing, as you very well know.
Yep.
Yes, please. What's your question? No, I think the people that, if you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly when you compare them to other things that took place in this country where a lot of people were killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th. But I think that the people of January 6th were treated very unfairly, and they were there to complain.
I like how
not
he
through
says
me.
that. Nobody
they were there
died,
to complain
man,
about
except
an
for
election.
our side.
And
no
you
cops
know, it's
died.
very interesting. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I said peacefully and patriotically, which nobody wants to say, but I said peacefully and patriotically. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen, Maggie, I was at the mall, I was at the Washington Monument, I was at the
He's
whole
about as
thing.
measured
I had crowds,
as I've ever
I don't
seen
know
him.
who's ever had a bigger crowd than I had, but I had it
107,000.
The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that
Mm.
day, and I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that
campaign's
crowd. You see the
working the
picture
social media
of
good,
a small
too.
number of people relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to
If
the
you haven't
biggest
seen it,
crowds.
you need to see the
Nobody's spoken
Aiden
to
live
that
stream.
bigger
That
than
was
me.
something.
If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd,
Well, see,
we actually had more people. They said I had
and you don't see him
25,000,
talking
and
about
he had
sharks and batteries and
1
shit
million
because he's
people.
not at a
And I'm
rally.
okay with it because
And
I
the
like
people don't understand
Dr.
that.
Martin
The news
Luther King.
media
Yeah,
doesn't understand his
please.
modes.
Right.
By the way, I'm not smoking crack. I'm smoking roaches because I'm all out of money, and I'm down to my last few roaches. So
we have a constitution. It's a very important document,
cracky.
and we live by it. She has no votes, and I'm very happy to run against her. I'm not complaining from that standpoint. And I hate to be defending him, but he did not want to leave. He wanted to see if he could win. They said, you're not going to win after the debate. They said, you're not going to win.
And
You
they
can't
forced him
win.
out.
You're out.
They cooed him.
And at first they said it nicely, and he wasn't leaving. And then you know it better than anybody. Wait a minute. So when you think about it, they said at first they were going to go out to another vote. They were going to go through a primary system, a quick primary system, which it would have
He
to be.
He excels at this.
And then it all
He needs to do
disappeared, and they
more
just
of
picked a
this.
person that was the first out. She was the first
shreds
loser. Okay,
reporters.
so we call her the first
Shreds
loser.
them.
She was the first loser when during the primary system, during the Democrat primary system, she was the first one to quit, and she quit. She had no votes, no support, and she was a bad debater, by the way, very bad debater. And that's not the thing I'm looking forward to,
This
but
is
she
a
was a
master
bad debater.
class.
She did obviously a bad job. She never made it to Iowa. Then for some reason, and I know he regrets it, you do too, he picked her.
And look how
and
sharp he is.
She turned on him too. She was working with the people that wanted
I
him
am
out.
on Rumble.
But the fact that you can get no votes, lose in the primary system.
I just don't interact
in
with
other
the chat
words, you
over there,
had
that's all.
14 or 15 people. She was the first one out. And that you can then be picked to run for president, it seems to me actually unconstitutional. Perhaps it's not. Please.
Against Joe Biden, are there any ways that you see her as a more challenging opponent than those other two?
So I've run against Hillary, and I've run against various other people. I would say that in terms of intelligence, Hillary was far superior. I would say that. Hillary was smart. She was her own worst enemy in many ways, but she was smart, very smart. Okay? If you ask me to compare them. Please.
I must have got the key wrong. It's not playing over there. It usually is. I must have not set it up correctly this morning.
Oops.
I need to try a static key. Every time I have to set it up each time and put in the keys.
Would you repeat that question, please? Do you have to speak up? It's a hard room because it's very big, if you know. So this is worth $18 million. Oh, I see.
That was probably more popular with general election voters than many of your Republican rivals in the primary did. You said leave it to the states. Given that Florida is a state voting on that this fall,
Yeah.
how do you plan to vote? Do you plan to support?
So I think the abortion issue has been very much tempered down, and I've answered, I think, very well in the debate, and it seems to be much less of an issue, especially for those where they have the exceptions, as you know. And I think it's when I look for 52 years, they wanted to bring abortion back to the states. They wanted to get rid of Roe v. Wade. And that's Democrats, Republicans, and independents, and everybody. Liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back in the states. And I did that. Now the states are voting. And frankly, some of the votes are much more, if you could say, liberal than you would think. Ohio turned out to be, they had a big vote, and it turned out to be a much more liberal standing than people would have thought. Kansas, the same thing. And then you have Texas, and you have other places where it may be different. But the issue has been brought back to the states now. And like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly. I think that that's a very important thing. I think when you have to follow your heart. But when you don't believe in the exceptions, I think it's much tougher. It's a much tougher issue. But about 82% of Republicans do believe in exceptions. I think and a lot of them are changing their mind and coming even further. I think that abortion has become much less of an issue. It's a very small. I think it's actually going to be a very small issue. What I've done is I've done what every Democrat and every Republican wanted to have done, and we brought that issue back to the states. And now the states are voting on it.
You can check and see
and
if it
frankly, some of the votes are a lot different than people would have thought. But it's the vote of the people is taking care of it. And, when you think about the radical, the Democrats are really the radical ones in this because they're allowed to do abortion on the 8th and 9th month and even after birth. If you look at your new
they do.
Governor from Minnesota, he's like the governor previous, the former governor. I don't want to get him mixed up because Glenn is doing a good job and he's leading our whole campaign in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. But previous to Glenn, the governor, he said the baby will be born. We will put the baby aside and we will decide with the mother what we're going to do. In other words, whether or not we're going to kill the baby. The Minnesota gentleman, this guy agrees with that. He is the most liberal. Look, between her and him, there's never been anything like this. There's never been a combination. So I'll use the word progressive. They want to go progressive. They don't like the word liberal. I like liberal better. I think it's more appropriate because nobody knows what progressive means. But they now like to use the word progressive. But there's certainly never been anybody so liberal like this.
Are you guys fucking tired of the progress yet?
I think the abortion issue has been taken down many notches. I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big factor anymore, really. And when people hear what I said in the debate, and I think I said it very well during the debate, we brought it back to the states. Everybody wanted it in the states. And very importantly, and you think about this, assuming you have exceptions. If you don't have exceptions, it's a more difficult thing. At the same time, there are people that strongly feel that way, and you have to follow your heart, and you should follow your heart. But that issue is very much subdued.
I am on Rumble. It's working.
Oh.
If you click on the first one live down there, it works.
An attempt?
Yes.
Did the fact that somebody used an AR-15 gun at all change your impression of people's access to that weapon?
No, I didn't. Look, if you take away guns, she wants to take away everyone's gun. If you take away guns, you can't do it because people need the guns for protection. Now, entertainment, they want it, hunting, they want, different things. But they need weapons for protection in this country.
Guys.
People live out in the woods and they're not going to have a gun. If you look at some countries, I don't want to get them in trouble, but some countries have actually gone the opposite way. They had very strong gun laws, and now they have gone the opposite way, where they allowed people to have guns, where in one case they encouraged people to go out and get guns, and crime is down 29%. And remember this, what is the toughest gun law in the United States? Chicago.
Jeff is awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
8 people were shot and 17 died.
Can't tell you.
The toughest gun laws in the United States are in the city of Chicago. You know that.
Oh,
they had 117 people shot. Afghanistan does not have that.
Thank you.
Afghanistan, by the way, was the lowest point in the history of our country, in my opinion. That was the worst embarrassment to the history of this country, and I say Putin would not have gone into Ukraine if that didn't happen. When he saw the incompetence of Milley and all these guys that are incompetent, when he saw that happen, when they took out the soldiers first, they took out the soldiers first. If you go back and check your records, for 18 months I had a talk with Abdul. Abdul was the leader of the Taliban, still is. But I had a strong talk with him. For 18 months, not one American soldier was shot at or killed, but not even shot at. 18 months, and then we had the disaster
Joe Biden lied about it during the debate. He said no one died under his
airplanes
watch.
From 3 times the height of the World Trade Center. I mean,
this
terrible.
is so good for him right now.
Now our country has to be respected again, please.
And show the stamina he's got
please.
too, answering questions.
Said she might be open to the idea of a weapons embargo against Israel. I wonder if you could comment on that and what that might mean for the conflict.
I'd be against that.
And
she
also
can't do this.
That Kamala is in favor of not giving Israel weapons? Yeah. That's what I hear. Look, she's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad to Jewish people. And I say it, if anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined. If you think about it, I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. I even built the embassy. I gave them no Iran deal. The problem is they didn't do anything with it. Iran was broke. We could have made a deal so easily. I would have had a deal done within 1 week.
The weaponization of the justice system was disgusting, and I would never have believed it could ever happen in this country. I didn't believe it.
I was looking forward to it. I was fine with Iran. We hit them a couple of times pretty hard.
Look where we are.
But we would have been fine with Iran. But I terminated that deal. I got them the Abraham Accords. Everyone said that's impossible. I got them the Abraham Accords. She's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad and disrespectful to Jewish people. And any Jewish person that votes for Kamala and her new friend, who I don't know if she knew him before, but I don't think he's too good. But anybody that votes for them, if you're Jewish or if you love Israel, you have to have your head examined.
I love it.
Go ahead, please.
The shooter, Matthew Crooks, and I was wondering if the FBI and the Secret Service are doing a decent job.
They have. The FBI came to see me about the shooter. I think they've done a very good job, and I think they did a very good job with respect to this other lunatic that they have in custody. Please.
What? Who's in? Oh, the other one.
Around Vice President Harris's relationship with Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco, and how that might have intersected with her career trajectory. So I was wondering if you followed that discussion.
Intersected with the career trajectory.
I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But he I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Would certify your election victory if you win?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
How are you planning to vote on Florida's abortion referendum in November?
On what?
How are you planning to vote on Florida's abortion referendum this November?
Well, I'm going to announce that. I'm going to actually have a press conference on that at some point in the near future, so I don't want to tell you now. But
I love
Florida
it.
does have a
This
vote
is a
coming up
direct
on
challenge
that.
to Kamala.
And I think probably the vote
to
will
get
go
out in front of the fucking camera.
She's
in a
just
little more liberal
lying
way than
about
people
him.
thought. But I'll be announcing that at the appropriate time. Please.
Coming up, fairly soon and potentially expiring. And I wanted to ask you specifically about the tax code favoring parents versus people who don't have children. There are a number of tax breaks for parents.
We gave
this is a different
tremendous
Trump.
for child care and all of that. No, our tax.
There's more of a
cuts,
weight
which
and
are the
gravity
biggest in
about him,
history.
don't you think?
Our tax cuts are coming due, as you know, very soon. And if the Democrats don't renew them or make it impossible to renew because it's pretty close,
Scared to death of nuclear war.
in terms of vote, if they don't renew them, it's the equivalent of having a 4 times tax increase from what you have right now, and it'll destroy the economy. I think they're under tremendous
said that
pressure to do
before.
it. I've never
Is that
seen, all
true?
my life
4
I grow
times
up and
tax?
I watch politics,
What?
and I used to be on the other
4
side of
times the
politics,
tax
then
he's
I run
talking
for
about.
office.
That
But
the
in all the
Democrats
years of
wanna
studying
do.
politics, I've never seen people get elected by saying, we're going to give you a tax increase. These guys get up, think of it. We're going to give you no security. We're going to give you a weak military. We're going to give you no walls, no borders, no anything. We're going to, all these things they're doing.
That's where we're at.
I mean, the transgender became such a big thing. But they do all of these things, but they always say, we're going to give you a tax increase. I never heard anybody campaign on a tax increase. A politician has always said, I will cut taxes. I'll give you one example. Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. I am going to leave Social Security. I'm not raising the years. I'm not raising the age. I will be saving Social Security, and I'm going to work it out that there's no tax on Social Security for seniors.
Mess.
I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
I love it.
So waiters, waitresses, caddies, people that drive cars,
People that get stuff from
tips who have
Jeff
been harassed
don't have
by
to
the
pay
government.
taxes.
We're going to have
Yay!
no
Like
tax
me.
on tips. That's a big thing. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Because other people have done far bigger things than Steve Bannon. Sure, it's politically.
You got to
motivated.
hang
I
out
think
with
it's a
us in the
horrible
morning,
thing they
cat
did.
lady.
Look,
8
they've
to 10.
weaponized government against me.
Movie
Look
night
at the
Saturday
Florida
night.
case. It was a totally
Documentary night on
weaponized
Wednesdays.
case. All
Church
of these
on
cases,
Sunday.
by the way,
Church on
the New
Sunday
York
afternoon,
cases
1
are
o'clock.
totally controlled out of the Department of Justice. They sent their top person to the various places. They went to the AG's office, got that one
This
going.
is so
then he
much
went to
better
the
than
DA's
rally,
office,
rally,
got that
rally.
one going.
I get
read
tired of the
through it.
rally speeches.
No, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
all politics, and it's a disgrace. Never happened in this country. It's very common that it happens, but not in our country. It happens in banana republics and third world countries, and that's what we're becoming. We have no borders. We have bad voting regulations. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have problems.
8 to 10 in the
France
morning,
learned that
weekdays.
lesson. You know, France had
Eighth
all
morning
mail-in
again.
voting, and they went back to paper ballots, voter identification, voter ID. They went back to a normal system, one-day voting.
Oh,
They
my
don't want to
goodness.
be around, voting for 64 days. And look,
That's
the
right.
election, I keep talking about
And
November 5th, but
sometimes
the election
in the
really starts
mornings,
on September 6th.
Jennifer pops on
That's
like
when it
that.
starts.
Say
because
hi,
it's
wave
early
quick.
voting.
Hi.
We should have one-day voting. We
Here.
should
Oh,
have
it's very
paper
cute.
ballots. We should
Hi.
have
All
voter
right.
ID, and
Bye.
we should have proof of citizenship, please.
Funny.
No, the gentleman in back?
We have a good time. We have a very good time.
For who?
And the more the merrier. Hey, Maine Antifa.
You're going to have to
Sup?
talk louder.
Maine?
sir.
Sup? He's my bro. I'm going to interview him soon. Next week or two. Mm-hmm. As soon as I get my shit together. It's
Elon,
mostly together.
Is a very different kind of a guy. He's a very big believer in the country, but he's very worried about the country. He's very worried about the country.
Man, we got a good group for this.
And I don't know if it's good for him politically to have supported me, although I think we have a vast majority of this country does support me. But Elon, more than almost anybody I know, I mean, he loves this country. He loves the concept of the country. But like me, he says this country is in big trouble. It's in tremendous danger. Okay, please.
What message?
I like this guy.
What message?
I like him.
What message do you have to Americans, sir, who are struggling to pay for everyday life, such as groceries, rent?
The polls have suggested. There are some polls that say we're going to win in a landslide. People are voting with their stomachs, meaning they're going to the grocery store. They're paying 50, 60, 70% more for food than they did just a couple of years ago. Look at what's happened to energy. Look at what's happened not only to their cars, where gasoline's gone from $1.87, and we had moments when it was below that, but it's gone from $1.87 to $5, $6, and $7. And they take the strategic national reserves and they take it out, even though it's peanuts compared. It doesn't last long.
It doesn't do much.
But they're virtually empty now.
Yep.
We've never had it this low. And he's using that to keep the gasoline prices as low as possible.
So stupid.
He's sucked all of the oil out, essentially the gasoline, to keep the price down a little bit, and it's had very little impact. But you know what? We have no strategic national reserves now. He's emptied it. It's almost empty. It's never been this low. And I had it at a good level, and I would have had it more if the Democrats would have approved the deal. You know, I had a deal to buy it at $22 a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to be close to
$90.
100 pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like $90 a barrel.
And the Democrats didn't want to do that, but we bought a lot anyway. And we had it pretty good. And what they've done to the national reserves, the strategic national reserves, is, as you know very well, because you cover it, but what they've done is incredible. They've just, for the sake of getting some votes,
we got our pants
for the sake
down
of having
as a country right now.
You know, that's meant for wars. It's meant for like tragedy. It's not meant to keep a gasoline price down so that somebody can vote for Biden or, in this case, Kamala, who, by the way, is worse than Biden. And she's actually not as smart. Okay? She's actually not as smart. That's hard to believe. Yeah, please.
Abortion questions.
Okay.
There are other things the federal government could do, not just a ban. Would you direct your FDA, for example, to revoke access to mifepristone? That's one of the things that's been discussed.
You could do things that would supplement, absolutely. And those things are pretty open and humane. But you have to be able to have a vote. And all I want to do is give everybody a vote. And the votes are taking place right now as we speak. Yeah. But it's there are many things on a humane basis that you can do outside of that. But you also have to give a vote, and the people are going to have to decide. Okay, yes, please. You.
President Biden?
On what?
I know you said you think you're very
No, I think she's actually not as smart as he is.
Well, you said you think you're very
I don't think he's very smart either. But I'm not a big fan of his brain. But I think that she's actually not as smart as he is.
In the polls, it's becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over for Biden.
She's a woman. She represents certain groups of people. But I will say this. When people find out about her, I think she'll be much less. And I see it right now. I see her going way down in the polls now. Now that people are finding out that she destroyed San Francisco, she destroyed the state of California along with Governor Gavin Newsom. He's been a terrible governor, terrible. But they did it together. And she was early. I mean, she was the first of the prosecutors, really. You know, now you see Philadelphia, you see Los Angeles, you see New York, you see various people that are very bad. But she was the first of the bad prosecutors. She was early.
No. Stop beating Daddy up.
Who?
Will your White House do daily press briefings? Will you commit to that?
Would you repeat that, please?
Your White House.
No, you. Would you repeat her, what she said? You have to speak up. This room is very...
When you're elected, will you commit to your White House doing daily press briefings?
Do you hear her?
Off. Come on, honey, off.
A daily press briefing?
Oh.
Why would I do that? I would give you all the press briefings you want. Look what I'm doing here. But why would I do a daily press? You'd get tired of me very fast. No, but I will give you total access, and you'll have a lot of press briefings, and you'll have from me. Now, are you talking
the
about
fucking
from me?
Why is that even
Secretary?
a question?
Well, yeah, probably they'll do something. If it's not daily, it's going to be a lot. You'll have more than you want. Yeah, please.
Like he's not going to be transparent. Ridiculous. They hold press conferences every day, but we don't hear fucking jack shit from them.
Would you consider granting clemency or a pardon to
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hillary Clinton, too. You know, with Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. And then I see the way they treat me. That's the way it goes. But I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that, but I was. I think my people understand it. They used to say, lock her up, and I'd say, just relax, please. We won the election. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country.
Good.
And we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress. Yeah. And then, after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States, and then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way. I thought it was a very terrible thing, and she did a lot of very bad things.
It grazed him, man.
She was.
I bet you if you looked at it real close.
But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back,
good doctors.
To have taken her and to have put her in jail.
There's no doubt he was hit.
You know the things as well as I do. There were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75% of the country, far beyond the Republican Party, because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense. I want to have low taxes. I want to have strong borders. I want to have a strong military so that China and Russia, look, they've allowed China and Russia to do the impossible combined.
Yeah, I think it's a better way to go about doing it. Take away what she treasures.
China needs more land, and Russia has it.
Take away all her stuff.
They've always been natural enemies.
Make her live in poverty and worried about where her next...
started with him. And then Biden, because he didn't know what the hell he was doing, they've now become one force. And then now they're adding Iran to it, and they're adding North Korea to it. Pretty powerful force. This is something that is unthinkable that they allowed to happen.
Unprecedented.
On this, you're saying today you're not going to change your campaign strategy. You're going to keep going with the issues. But what if this so-called honeymoon period doesn't end?
It's going to end. The honeymoon period's going to end. Look.
Yeah, because she's going to have to fucking answer questions.
She's got a convention coming up.
Plus 3 debates.
It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff.
Has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language.
Good.
But everything she's touched has
turns to shit. I'll do it.
She's incompetent.
For you.
The reason she's not doing what I do and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden.
Wow.
Now, he had a reason for not doing well, and he
Just
was
to
never,
catch you up,
25
Donald
years
Trump's
ago,
doing
the
a whole lot
sharpest
of,
brightest bulb in the ceiling. That I can tell you. But he wasn't.
On reporters.
But he could do interviews at least. Not lately, he couldn't, perhaps.
He's swinging them around today.
She should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad. Just to answer your question, I think that it's not going to change because it's really ultimately not about her as much as about her policies. She wants open borders. She wants to defund the police. She wants to defund the police. She wants to take away your guns.
This is great.
Anybody that thinks they're not going to come after your guns, you know, when I was president, I totally protected
He's
the
laying
guns.
it down.
And I think it's very important.
No.
And I know I take some heat sometimes for it, but you have to have safety. You have to have, when the bad guy walks in with a gun, you got to have some way of protecting yourself. And boy, that would be, you would see crime go up at levels that you've never seen. When people say on this side of the house, this house has guns, we will use the guns, they say, let's pass. We'll go someplace else.
That's right.
You have to have them.
Not a gun-free
and
zone.
for 4 years. And, as you know, the NRA endorsed me very powerfully every time I ran, every time. My sons are members, and I guess indirectly I'm a member too. But they gave me the strongest of endorsements, and that's against very strong competition. People that felt the same.
Well, there's going to be
way.
3 debates.
You have to have. You have to have that right. Our Second Amendment is a very
That's the big
important
thing.
right.
I don't have the
And it has to
dates.
be
I should have wrote them
protected.
down. But I agree.
Okay, how about
3
you? Go
debates are set up already. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when he's going to excel.
So there
gotta
are some
pin
of
her
the
down
most
to the
brilliant
issues.
people on Wall Street that are
Got to get her
saying
to
that
talk. No notes.
if President Trump doesn't win, you're going to have a depression. I happen to agree. I think that's true.
Oh, I don't know.
Because
They
I
just
know
fucking print more.
how bad these people are. They like to say that they did this and that. You saw the $7 trillion that they said it was me.
Other
for
than that,
$7
he's
trillion.
just putting
It
out
wasn't me.
policy in a very
It
clear
was
and
them.
succinct way.
They said that I had inflation. They took
And
over 9%
attacking the other
inflation.
side.
No, I had 1% inflation. I had actually no inflation because if you look at the categories, we had just about no inflation. But I had a very
Staying on
minor,
message.
I actually had a
Very
positive
disciplined
inflation.
today.
It was a
Very
perfect
disciplined.
number because you don't want zero. I mean, I'm not going to give you a whole course on economics, but you don't want zero. 1%, 1.4% is great. You want a little bit because you don't want to have deflation.
I know.
Deflation
a little
is,
misguided there.
in many ways, even worse.
But do you want somebody
I
going
had
door to
a
door trying to
perfect
take
number
a gun
right
away?
around the 1% number. It was perfect.
I hear you.
And to show you, it stayed there for 2 years. And then he did all of the different borrowings that he did. And then he did so many things wrong. Every time he would do it, I'd say, big mistake. And don't forget, they sell hats.
He's taken
and they
back
sell
the news
stories.
cycle
Trump was
here.
right about
There's
everything.
so
I have
much
been right
meat
about
here.
a lot. Yes, Maggie.
And he's showing stamina. And he's willing to answer questions, not afraid. This is a master class, guys. So good.
Well, we had a commission like other people do, and it's always complicated and it's always controversial. And we had commissions that, and I think of respected people, many of the people on the commission, and they would recommend to me certain pardons for certain people. Some people were treated very harshly. A fantastic woman, as you know, she served 24 years for being on a phone call having to do with drugs. You know who I'm talking about. She was great. And she had another 24 years to go. And it was largely about marijuana, which in many cases is now legalized, okay? But we had many very
This is
highly
why the
regarded
common
people
man
on a
identifies
commission,
with a
and they'd
billionaire.
recommend, and they'd put a reason why. Some
Just
people
plain
were,
spoken.
served time, but they served a lot of time for something that today people wouldn't even serve time by.
God has his hand on Donald Trump. He's different than he was before he
Well,
was
for
shot.
the most part, I think they did. I mean, they did. They go through. They went through. I had a commission. It was a
More
very important
substance.
commission to me, and highly respected people.
More reserved.
And frankly, they came
He's
up with some
thinking
decisions
harder.
that I wouldn't necessarily agree with. But
Measuring
I did
his
it.
words
But I
more.
let a lot of people out that had no representation. I went to people in jails, in prison that we respected. I said, how
More
many of
corrupt
these
than we
people
can
should be let out? We let out
possibly ever
large
imagine.
groups of low-income people that were serving like 40 years for something that today you wouldn't even be put in jail for. We had very few people let out because I said I really don't want to let people out where they had a lot of violence, where they had killing, et cetera, et cetera. And for the most part, we didn't do that. Yeah, please.
You're right, Jeff.
Or the Fed on issues like the interest
God's
rate.
all over him.
And do you think that you
On
could manage over the Federal Reserve? And do you think that
Federal
you could
Reserve.
manage a soft landing in the economy given with the current leadership in place?
Right. Well, look, the Federal Reserve is a very interesting thing, and it's sort of gotten it wrong a lot. And
Yep.
he's tending to be a little bit late on things.
We need to audit the
He gets
Fed.
a little bit too early and a little bit too late. And, that's very largely
They're the fourth branch of government.
It's
You
a
know
gut
that,
feeling.
right? The Fed.
I believe it's really a gut feeling. And I used to have it out with him. I had it out with him a couple of times very strongly. I fought him very hard. And, we get along fine. We get along fine. But I feel that
Oh, yeah,
I feel
dude.
the president should have at least say in there. Yeah, I feel that strongly. I think
he's
that
sharp today, boy.
In my case, I made a lot of money.
He's a
I was
very
very
gracious
successful,
guy.
and I
People
think I have a
don't
better
understand
instinct
that.
than, in many cases, people that would be on the
But
Federal
he's not,
Reserve
and not
or the
afraid to go,
chairman.
that's a
Yeah.
stupid fucking question.
Prison for marijuana. Harris supports rescheduling marijuana and also says that no one should go to prison for a marijuana offense. Do you agree with those positions?
No.
Well, as we legalize it, I start to agree a lot more because, you know, it's being illegalized all over the country. Florida has something coming up. I'll be making a statement about that fairly soon. But as we legalize it throughout the country, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing,
the campaigns
it's awfully hard to have people all over the jails that are in jail right now for something that's legal.
They were busy this week.
I think
laying low.
Obviously, there's a lot of sentiment to doing that. Yeah, please.
Harris's father is Jamaican American, and she went to a historically black college. How is she only recently deciding to be black?
Well, you'll have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it. So you'll have to ask her, and I very much appreciate that question, but you'll have to ask her. But I've known her for a long time. I actually contributed to her campaign a long time ago because I was a developer. I contributed to lots of campaigns of Democrats, Republicans.
I don't know what the question was.
Some were liberal and some were conservative, but you'll have to ask her about that. But to me, it doesn't matter. But to her, from her standpoint, I think it's very disrespectful.
I'm so glad we got a nice,
to both,
good
really.
crew today
Whether
watching.
It's Indian or black, I think it's very disrespectful to both. To me, it doesn't matter.
It's always better when we got people.
Please, red dress.
When my peeps are here.
In the assassination, is your ear fully recovered? Is there a scar? Do you have
Good question. Good question.
Pretty much recovered, yeah. I'm a fast healer. It's a hell of a shot, but I'm a fast healer. Yeah, pretty much recovered. No, it didn't hit that. I got very lucky.
You just grazed,
man. It just hit the lobe, as they call it.
That's crazy.
On your ear?
Yeah, a little bit. Not much. On top.
President, I want to ask you about your mass on immigration.
A little bit.
It's an immigration question. You've been running on the idea of mass deportations. You say the biggest in American history is basically what you want. When Senator Vance has been asked about that, he's sort of suggested that really you only need to go after people who've been convicted of crime.
Well, we're starting that, yeah.
So what are you really talking about here? How will you pay for it? And do you think you can?
We are going to start the largest mass deportation in the history of our country.
Here we go.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And we are going to start with violent criminals, and we're going to start then with criminals. And our local police is going to work with us because they know everything about the people. They know their names. They know everything about them.
I guarantee you it's costing a hell of a lot more to fucking keep them here than to ship them the fuck home.
For years I wondered, why are they allowing these people to come in at levels like this? It was incredible. And I said two reasons. They're either really stupid, and I don't believe they're stupid, because anybody that can cheat on elections like they cheat is not stupid. Or, in the alternative, they have bad motives or they hate our country. And I used to think they hate our country.
AT,
but lately I've seen where they're trying to sign these
correct.
people up to vote. And they have to stop. They cannot let illegal immigrants vote in this upcoming
brings
election.
the tragedy of the evil as well. Yep.
Go ahead, one more. Make it a good one, please.
Not responsible for sin.
Social Security taxes for seniors,
right.
We've talked about a while. Experts say that the policy could increase the deficit by $1.6 trillion. So how would it work in your view?
We have so many ways of making money in this country. We're not going to affect our Social Security. We're not changing it. And I proved that over 4 years. And we're going to do it. It's very unfair to people. They spend their life and they're great citizens and they pay in. We're not going to charge tax to Social Security, the seniors. We're not going to do it.
Good.
We're not going to charge. And also tax. I say the two things. We're going to have no tax.
I'm turning 62 in January.
Social Security. And we're going to have no tax on tips. Very simple.
Yeah.
And
I'll be able to make a living that way.
We are a country that has so many different ways to make money. We have under our feet more liquid gold, I call it oil, and gas, than any country in the world, much more than Saudi Arabia, much more than Russia. We have so many different ways we can make money. We're not going to hurt our seniors with Social Security, and we're not going to charge them tax. Okay?
He's being real patient, too.
Cities or municipalities are unwilling to cooperate. How do you plan to enforce that and use the federal?
We should not have sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities is a way of protecting criminals, and we should not have sanctuary cities. And if you go to California, and I know it well, I have property out there, great property. If you go to California and you ask the people of California, do they like the idea of sanctuary cities? They don't like it. They're tired of it. They're tired of crime. They're tired of what's happened to our country. Our country's become a crime-ridden mess. and we're going to stop it on November 5th. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
They are more respectful than they
have ever been.
Yeah. I mean, only one or two people were kind of
addressing
crappy.
the media for more than an hour in.
All right, shut up. Okay, hey.
Hey.
So I'm just gonna pop back up here.
We might see Debbie.
And see Debbie.
Hurricane Debbie.
Oh.
Debbie.
When? Who? What?
You know, the one that was in the Gulf.
Yeah.
It's now going up, and it's gonna go up through Maine.
Is it? Are we gonna get like wet, dreary weather or something?
Yeah, probably. It's not going to go through the ocean. It's going to go through land. So by the
time it gets here, it's going to be like. Right. So anyway, I'm not too worried about that. Okay. So hey, do you like my new live setup? Everything I got it. I worked, and I finally got so many scenes going on because like if you're watching, and you've never been, we're free 8 to 10 every morning, except for this morning where you don't go. Right. 8 to 10 every morning on the weekdays, and then Saturday night movie night at 8 o'clock. Sometimes we do a double feature depending on who's hanging out. We had fun last week. We watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil. God, that was so fun. And it was really, really fun. And then Sunday we do church at 1 o'clock, and it's interactive. And so I'm just teaching through the book of Matthew right now. And if you want to ask questions and stuff like that, that's all cool. So it's kind of a better church than just sitting in a church and listening to somebody download shit on you, right? So that's cool. You want to do that. And then on Wednesday night, we had the first documentary night, and I screwed up a little bit. I had sound problems for the first. My mic was muted or something for the first like couple of minutes. But we watched the documentary about the Trump assassination from TMZ, which was really, really cool. And so it was good first kickoff. So we got a pretty full schedule, and it's like a buffet. It's like the TruthSlinger buffet.
Buffet.
Right? You can just pick
BB
whatever
buffet.
you want. You know, if you want to load up a lot on the morning show and, you know, hang out with us on Saturdays, but, you're busy on Wednesdays or whatever. You like Wednesdays and maybe you're not into horror comedy movies or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Just get whatever you can. And under the highlights tab on my Twitter feed, that's where you get all the older stuff. So if you want to go back and watch one of those movies or whatever with the commentary, see what it's like, you can check that out. Or you can watch any of my back episodes, at least for a few months, ever since I've been streaming. So everything goes there. So you can check that out. So we really, really appreciate everybody who was here. We had Colden, we had the Cat Lady, we had Jeff, we had Anarchy Television, also known a.k.a. Wingnut.
Wingnut and Waz.
Yeah, it was. And thank
Mighty and
all of
Amazing
you.
Waz.
Yep. So that was a whole lot of fun. It's always more fun when people are in here with us watching stuff. And if I fail to shout you out or interact with you and get your feelings hurt, I'm really sorry. No, I'll do better next time if I missed anything that you said. But I got to leave you wanting a little. I can't interact with every single comment because then you're going to feel like, every time I ask a question or whatever, interact, he's always going to talk to me. I need to leave people wanting a little bit, right? So that when I do call on you, it makes you feel special. All right. I'm just, yeah, man, try and catch me on Rumble. YouTube censored your comments, yeah. Well, if you start watching over there on Rumble, then what I will do, hey, baby, what I will do is call up the Rumble chat so that I'll watch for a separate chat over there. I've had viewers over there. I had some views and some stuff, but I just haven't had much commenting or people actually interacting. And it seems like the percentage of people, we get like 1,000 people watching, and we've only really got like 8 or 10 people that are, commenting. The rest of people are just passively downloading all this stuff. My hand is getting all slobbered over, guys, and I think it's time to eat something. That's what I think. So if anything breaks, right, if news breaks, we'll get online and we'll try and fix it. So, yeah, check it out. If all of a sudden, like, missiles start flying or anything, you hear any kind of news like that, or Twitter just blows up on some shit that happens, we'll go live. Because that's what we do, and we're here. So, anyway, thanks for hanging out. We really appreciate you. My name's Tim. I'm the TruthSlinger. That's Hippie Chick over there.
Hey.
Over there.
Over there. Yeah.
We're out of here, guys. See ya.